Well, in terms of the reasons for the doctoral program and the question what gave rise to it, a number of things. In the first place, when NEX was established 27 years ago, the need then was for master's level training. And since then, there are other institutions who are now offering master's level training. So in a sense, you could say that NEX was at the cutting edge of training and producing leaders. But now that there are other institutions providing that level of training, it means then that there is a need also now to train and produce teachers who can then teach at the master's level. And that's one of the things we want to be responsive to at NEXT, producing the leadership at that level. But secondly, I think important is the fact that we increasingly are in a world Christianity climate, a situation where the church in the majority world has the greatest number of Christians. I think back to an interview that on the BBC World Service of Bishop Tom Wright, the British evangelical scholar. And he was asked, I think it was during the first Iraqi war, and the question that was asked had to do with the clash of civilizations, Christianity as against Islam. And in his usual pithy response, this was what Tom Wright said, or was to the effect that the majority of people in the West are no longer Christians, and the majority of Christians are no longer in the West. Now, I think what that means for us is not just the significance, the missiological significance, which lots of people point out, but for those of us in theological education, I think that has tremendous significance, that if the church of the future is going to be reflecting the callers of the majority world, then it means we have a responsibility to train leadership at the very highest level, so that we train leaders who can reflect at the very highest level, who can face the issues and challenges of our day, whether those are intellectual issues, sociocultural issues. But the vitality and health of the church in the future, I think, demands training at the highest level. But the other component to that as well is that we have 2,000 years of Christian heritage. Now, if you go further back, because I'm Old Testament, I'm an Old Testament student, then it's even longer than that. So you have this wealth of heritage that we in the majority world then are not only heirs of, but we also have the challenge of being faithful and true to that heritage. And that, I think, calls for theological training at the highest level, which is why we went into the doctoral program, not to provide new tools for the big boys to play with, but in terms of being faithful to God's mission, in terms of being faithful to the church and providing the sort of leadership that would, hopefully, by God's grace, would carry the church in Africa and the majority world into the 21st century and beyond.